West Nile TV. Meyuder Ingomwa. West Nile TV. Meyuder Ingomwa.
A good afternoon to you, viewer, and you are live on West Nile TV. The whistle time comes once again, the Monday edition. Couple of things happened during the weekend, and of course, a lot has been happening. You did see the game between France and Spain in that very big final of the UEFA Nations Cup, and of course, a lot happened. Now, of course, one of the best games I always follow and I love is, of course, the Formula One, where, of course, Bottas won that Turkish Prix. It's a very big one, and of course, a couple of things in the local scene, as of course Uganda also tries its level best to see that they want to qualify this season in that is the World Cup. Or let's wait and see whether this will be possible. They are 8 points behind Mali. That is, of course, 10 points. We'll be getting to that. My name is Owen, and of course, I have Oscar, the Brazilian, in the studios with me as usual. I say partner in sports. Oscar, most welcome and good afternoon.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful weekend, though to some people it's always boring without league games, but still it was a wonderful one for me.
Okay, now let's start with the big stories. Remember, we did tell you that, of course, the Obimo Cup is coming up next, a few days to go, and people are counting down. A lot of things are still happening, and of course, we took a time and took some little moment to say that we got involved in some of these few areas and see how the teams are doing well and how the teams are trying much to do. But of course, the teams are very getting prepared ahead of that is the Obimo Cup. Now, Oscar, we are ready to cover that game, and West Nile TV, the whistle time will be available for that come this very 27th of the month. And of course, it's a very big one for the first of its kind, probably going to be one of the big companies also getting engaged in this.
Well, to me, it's one of the initiatives that the kingdom has come up with that is trying to engage the youth so much. I think this is the fifth edition, but I think even when you look further from the first, second up to this moment, it has always been a very good thing in terms of youth showcasing their talents, bringing the youth together, to disseminate information. I think it's a very good step in for me. But however, the other issue that we talked about last time still remains for me. They need to now stretch it beyond, because right now it's only Uganda, DR Congo, but I'm expecting it to be spread across West Nile. Special invites to be given out to various other cultural institutions to come on board and to join up. This time, I think because of financial challenges, it will be held in one place, and I think it will be played in a gala format, Barokoro. I think just in a space of 2 days.
Could it be financial or COVID?
I think both. That's what it's been reported. It's both. So we are here going to go with it for now. But however, we are going to have a comprehensive info that we're going to get. I think on the day that we actually will reach there, we'll have enough to actually talk, to find out much more about why it has been held this way. I think anytime soon we're going to be having the chairperson, who is also a honorable in the council. I think he represents Nebi municipality to the district council. It's called Honorable Jeff Geoffrey.
Yeah, we'll be glad to have Jeff Geoffrey in the studios and see how exactly he tells us about these games. That will be coming so soon. But of course, we just wanted to give you a hint that the game is not going dormant. It's still active, and a lot of things that will be coming now. For the youth who are right there, you should be getting prepared, because it's going to be one of the biggest. Now, it is going to help a lot in different aspects, of course, whether you're in business, whether you're in the other. But of course, a lot of things will be coming through for this. And of course, hotels, the borders and every other thing will be getting engaged. engaged in this. Of course, I think it will be a two-way traffic to help all this. So that's with the OBB Cup. But of course, get ready. We'll be getting to you, and we shall always be getting there. Of course, we shall be getting down to that is where all these teams are training, where of course all the other stakeholders are, and we get to you all the information that is coming in there. This is Whistle Time, and we'll always be giving you. Let's move out from there and get to some of the ways. Today is 11th. We are only left with the 4 days for the kickoff of the Uganda Premier League, and out of that, Onduparaka Football Club came back during the weekend. It was on Saturday that Onduparaka Football Club reported back from their trip from Kampala, and of course, with challenges on the road and here, but finally they arrived, and they'll be having a game with Calvary Football Club on the 2nd. On the 12th, that's going to be tomorrow at Greenlight Stadium. That's a build-up game. But let's start with the Arua Hill Sports Club before we get to Calvary. Arua Hill had a game with Nebi Central, where of course the game really showed what a man against man can do, and that's what exactly you saw. It ended 2-1 in favor of Arua Hill, but of course Nebi Central, a regional league team, had a very good display. If they had not squandered their chances, then they would become victorious with very many goals in there. One of the guy you could be talking about is Francis. I loved him so much. He was in that team. The Rastaman was very good and tried everything, but of course other names kept surfacing. But let's look at Arua Hill and Arua Hill Nebi, because they had a game also with Calvary which ended 1-1 at Midigo. Now Arua Hill's performance, one would say, is not what exactly you, who has that ambition of becoming a coach, could say that is not the game you expected out of the big names that are in Arua Hill Sports Club. Do you see them still change something in the Uganda Premier League come this season?
Well, Arua Hill won that game 2-1, but tactically I thought Arua Hill was still, they are still in progress. They're still coming up with something. I think at the back, Arua Hill seems to be having challenges. Muhammad Rashid, the other colleague,
Vune was there.
Yes, Muhammad Rashid. I think
Atando was there.
He's still rusty at the back, as usual. We also saw it against Calvary.
Yeah.
That goal that Kilama Dickens scored. I mean, they were running shoulder to shoulder, but I mean, I think that performance from him still needs to improve. However, on another platform, I said it, when you are going to be seeing Coach Livingston Babazi coming, there are some faces you will not see at the club, but the others you will see them whether you like it or not. Alfred Leko, Rashid Muhammad,
Wahab,
people like Wahab,
Faizo Ibrahim,
those ones you will see them. And I'm not saying they're bad, but I'm saying the coach, I think, and then Kapi, you will see those faces. However, he has been very, very good at the back. He knows what he's doing. And let's come to the game with the Nebi Central. It was until Mbabazi shifted to a back three that's when at least they started gaining some bit of momentum, trying to at least get hold of the ball. That was what I saw, because now I saw the likes of Rashid Kawawa trying to be was played as a wing back. Innocent Maduka was brought in, played as a wing back. However, he had a very good game for me. He's not such a very physical player, but he has the brain. He made some couple of good turns that was very impressive for me. He has football in the brain, and that to me was a plus. Kawawa really struggled as a wing back. He's not so used to that. They tried that. To me, however, it gave them something. However, my eyes were on, there was that short boy in the midfield of Nebi Central.
Francis.
I think that was one of the most talented players we have around. There was that other striker who beat the whole of the defenders of Arua Hill, only to be denied that goal because there was somebody who was in the net. I thought the guy should have scored.
Looking for him because I've started scouting.
I thought that guy should have scored. And I spoke to Fred after that. Fred told me that guy had just returned and he had not even trained. You could not imagine that those boys did not train together. But that was the display they actually had.
So now the question is, if they had trained together, how would the display look to you as a coach who is trying to come up anyway?
If I were in charge of that team myself, that team would have beaten Arua Hill. hands down, that team would have beaten Arua Hill. They were complete to me. Because you look at from the word go, I think what saved Arua Hill was the 2 quick goals, and they also had a penalty. But to me, if I were in charge of that team, I would have beaten Arua Hill hands down. That's in my assessment.
That is not only there, but of course a lot of things that came through in the same Arua Hill game against Nebi. I watched Oga Inus Maduka, and then against against Calvary Football Club, the same. But of course, something is lacking. He played his best of the game, but Arua Hill is not playing the type of game that Maduka is supposed to fit in. I don't know whether you agree with me. You saw him struggle in the first 10, because Maduka is that player who plays this game where
tiki-taka, flowing, and fast.
Arua Hill is playing that hit and run, where of course you saw the game. You saw when they got into the tiki-taka a little bit, he was in the place, he could give and take place and move everything. So, how are they going to help him? And he's already scared that he may not get a playing time.
Well, I think it comes to 2 things. One, is the coach willing to change his philosophy or style of play to suit the player, or the player has to adopt in the style of play of the coach? Those are 2 critical things in tactical applications that you really have to make do with. Mostly coaches are so rigid to change to fit just a player. They want a player to adapt into the system. Because as a player, as a professional, you need to always adapt in a style of a play of a coach. Because if you are to get rigid, you will not benefit. To me, tactically, I would think the formations that will favor him, the formations that picture a 4-2-3-1 will favor him. Either you play him behind the main striker, or you play him as somebody who will be doing in the midfield. I don't think so, but he mostly flourishes from the flanks, and he has a good attributes of playing as a number 10. He can also play a 4-3-3, a slick 4-3-3, where you have Faizo in the midfield, anchoring the midfield. You have Wahab to the left, on the right you have Gardino. Then up front, maybe you could have Leko, you have Maduka on the left, on the other side you have Rashid Kawawa, who still would really work for me. And the main emphasis there is when you just need to be playing. Maduka is such a player I compare to Jadon Sancho. Why the Jadon Sancho is struggling at United is not because he's a bad player, it's because the type of play United is having, is playing doesn't suit him. He's this type of a fast type of a player who wants give a pass, move on. He's just a direct player who wants to always find himself in advanced position. He's an attack-minded player. So to benefit from such a player, you don't need to have players around him who hold the ball for long.
Of course, where you saw him for England, he has done something.
He doesn't have the physique so much, but he has the brain and he's quick. He wants that quick pressing football, and that's also what I see with Maduka. He has the brain. He has the nice turns, his anticipation is very good, his positioning is good, however, he's not physical. And you also see in our game setup here, that physique is much more important. Just like how Hassan Fatib is not succeeding. He has all it takes to succeed, but he's not physical. And physique is one important aspect of a player. You have to build physique. So to me, I really see, I saw him struggling, but I think that those are points he should pick up from, he should learn from, he should actually pick up himself so fast. Because if he doesn't, there's no coach is going to be willing to change his formation to just suit only one player.
Now, let's leave that there. Of course, still more players in there in the Rock Hill team that we could be talking about. Ade Brian was one player who was brought in, and of course, after they are removed to make a change in there. And Ade's performance, rated from ever since, because all the names started when he became mostly known when he scored that goal for West Nile in the drum, and everyone was like, yes, Ade Brian. But this time around, up to now, he has not floated on the water. What could be the problem?
Well, you see, there was that hype to me of Ade Brian when he came, when he hit on the scene. I mean, with the Doves. People expected him to have actually gone further. But again, when I look at the team where he is, you tell me that there's been a youngster who has really day in, week out, gotten a very good opportunity, if not an established player already, to develop through the ranks under Mbabazi. So I think Mbabazi's style is not so much to develop very young players. He uses them, but I have not seen any. Because when you look at Mohamed Shaban at Onduparaka, was the unestablished player for me. At Onduparaka, in his second reign, I saw the likes of Joel coming in, though he was not so much of a starter. It was Bida did not so much. One of the most disappointing players for me has been Bida. I have not seen so much from him. Bida has tried, but when you don't underestimate that Bida had established himself. Going to Onduparaka, I expected him to now pan a bit and actually go further. I didn't see that from him. But when you look at a player like Ade Bryan, you know, he has not shown to me. He has not. He's kind of a one-hit wonder for me. He's not a player, a consistent player you'd actually look up to. He's this type of a player who wants to define a fox in the box. He's not so much of a fighter for me.
So he wants to be babysitted.
Of course, that those type of players you always find in every team. You tell me Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a fighter. He's not. He's just a fox in the box. He knows how to position himself, wait for those balls to come. His duty is to put them.
But in the current era, such are not so much fancied by, of course, modern coaches.
Well, that's why you're not seeing the best out of him. In Babazi's team, for you to succeed,
energy,
you need
physique.
You need physique. You need the skills, and you need to follow his instructions. Your positioning has to be good. Your ball control, your ball anticipation. And that the boat will come to his basics. Are you following his instructions? That's why mostly he sticks with identical players, and because those players understand and knows what he wants.
Now let's look at the game at Calvary Football Club. What lacked into the Calvary Football Club for them to defend that goal? Because that's one thing that they had, but they scored an early goal, 7 minutes, later on, it was Lekwa again who came and made an equalizer for Arua Hill Sports Club. But of course, first half ended 0-0 up to deeper in the 70s. That of course we did see Lekwa getting that goal. So that's still another way. But let's look at Calvary. We've talked about Arua Hill plus their challenges. What did you identify in the team of Calvary Football Club that did not help them still have their game, though they had all the pressure?
Well, I have been a number one critique of Alfred Leko, but I must admit Alfred Leko has improved. The last 2 games I've watched. Alfred Leko has improved his positioning. I mean, the whole essence is to have Alfred Leko to get defenders around him so that gives spaces for other people. Just like the same reason why Babazi has been having Karim Dugwa. Karim Dugwa is not a good player. He's not one of the best players. But it's just that style of play that he wants. He wants a player who will bring the defenders together. The defenders will have so much focus on him to give space for other people to actually thrive in the game. But I watched Calvary. From the word go, I knew Calvary was playing a flat 4-4-2. Complete flat 4-4-2. So it just started giving me something to think of. Their captain, that is
Ongo
Ahmed is not one of the modern centre backs. He's a traditional
clear the ball.
Let's
go.
That's Karaga type. That is from the word, but that's how I watched it, and I knew they were playing a flat 4-4-2. Now, because you have one of the things that really didn't work out well for me was Akena and his team to think that Julius Malengumu should be played as a winger. That was one of the most undoing for me, because I know that player is good in the box and he's a fighter. He's a player who can attract the defenders on him, because his space. He would have given a lot of hard time for Rashid. I expected, if they were not to play him as the number 9, let them play him as a number 10. Because of the support he will give in the midfield.
And he has the energy to shoot the ball.
He has the energy, and when he comes to the midfield, he has the attributes of going both on the right-hand side of the flank or on the left-hand. Can even cut inside, so it will give a lot of opportunity for the number 9 as well, either to pass the ball, but more still in the midfield. to play that box to box, because as a number 10 they would have actually come deep, because I also saw one challenge with Calvary. There was no compactness in the midfield. Once they lose the ball, they are exposed in the midfield. The only thing that was saving them was that you see, Choka Julius played his role very well. He will go act as a box to box, wants to drop deep. But again, when they're dropping deep, you find the numerical advantage is not there. That's why they couldn't stay compact and they are at the back and in the midfield. So the flat 4-4-2 to me is not one of those that Calvary, I don't know whether they're going to use it for the whole season coming. It also comes to the coach. What is the style of play of this coach? Is there anything involving in him, or is he an unorthodox type of a coach? Okay, no. One thing I would think, flat 4-4-2 is not bad, but when you're using flat 4-4-2, there are some things you can change in that 4-4-2 to spice it up. You can either play a 4-1-1, and technically you are disguising a 4-5-1, because the number 10 has to drop deep. He has to have that attribute of playing box to box. The essence is when you don't have the ball, that compactness in the midfield. And again, while starting the ball, yes, their build-up play from the back signaled something for me. They were trying to do something, because the two centre-backs will split the edge of the box so that the ball can be passed. The movement of the full-backs, they move high up the pitch, which was a plus for me. But again, those two, they were supposed to be, okay, Choka will open, then the number 6 as well supposed to open to give space in the midfield how they can pass the ball. Calvary couldn't hold the ball for more than 2 minutes. They couldn't actually keep 5 complete passes without losing the ball. To me, I thought those are some of the things that really are still lacking. Is yet a lot in progress. Then the number 9 for me was the major undoing. Kilama Dickens, he could have scored the goal, but he's one player that, to me, as a coach, I would think still has a lot of work to do. His positioning, yes, in attack is good, but when he's not good without the ball, and that's one of the things that most players tend to ignore. You have to be good with and without the ball. Why am I saying he's not good without the ball? When he doesn't have the ball, you don't see him. His body language. When you lose the ball, drop deep. Even drop at least at the center. For him, when after losing the ball, you're walking. You're giving your opponents advantage. And again, when he drops deep on the flanks to pick the ball, his game reading is not good. You have received the ball, instead of looking, where is Julius Malingum? Where is the number 11? That is where instincts, he's already moving. Put the ball for him in space. You want to still hold the ball, dodge 1-2. That's not an attribute of a good striker. You have to be attack-minded. And he's not picking up his colleagues well. He still has a lot of work to do.
Lastly, about that, before we take a break, Anda Masabir is back. Would he be the key man to solve the midfield partnership this time before January transfer? That holding bit of it?
No. You see, in a flat 4-4-2, now it becomes a challenge. Maybe if it was in a 4-2-3-1, because you easily achieve the transition between formations, and you can easily achieve compactness at the back because you have a lot of support. Now, as a number 6, basically in a flat 4-4-2, they are known as destroyers.
You sit there.
No
movement. Your area is the
your game winning. Yes, your game winning is superb. Your ball retention is okay. Your ball passing ability is okay. Then your support, you need to know, because your movement, where are you supposed to operate? And I hardly see that. And again, your physique, that's going to be his major undoing. However, maybe that was the first game you want to see, the game against the Caterpillars. Are these coaches going to change something? Is there anything that's going to change around the style of play? Otherwise, if that's what they're going to go with, they still have a lot of work to do. I would suggest maybe they go with a 4-4-2 diamond. Could work out.
Let's wait and see what exactly this will be like against the Caterpillars. Come tomorrow. It's going to be a Tuesday. We'll be right there to give you mostly. We may have our show right there to see that we do all this for you. And it's going to be one of the biggest games that you have to watch in a build-up game for the Caterpillars right here. Now, that's one big thing. But we take a break. We'll be right back. Remember, 477 is the channel number on StarTimes satellite dish. And at the same time, I want to say we are streaming live on YouTube. Let's take a break. We'll be right back to give you more.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back from that break, and I want to say you're still watching Whistle Time with the Whistle Timers, Owen and Oscar in the studios of West Nile TV. Yes, a lot of things, you can always be part of it. You can always be subscribing to our YouTube channel, be part of us so that you get that notification by only clicking on that bell, and you become part of the Whistle Time and West Nile TV at large. But of course, back in action yet again is the big game where of course Uganda had two games against the Mavumbi Stars of Rwanda, and one was in Kigali where Uganda had a very good win comfortably by the man, the West Nile born. I'm talking about Fahad Bayo from Terego. He had that very good goal that is scored. Then of course at St. Mary's Stadium yesterday, there was also another good one where he got that goal for Uganda yet again to make sure that he gets himself back. 2 goals for him in against, of course, a single team. That one already sells him very far. But of course, let's look at Uganda under Mitchell. They want to qualify for the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup, and they are number 2 now. That is our Uganda, not your Congo.
Yeah, for us, we have the Yannick Bolasie, Jemerson Bokani. I mean, we have so many stars. But I think there's one thing we need to know. We can congratulate, but it's not yet time for us to celebrate.
Yep.
Because getting those two, first of all, look at the Sekafa region. Which country has been flying high? It's Uganda. So when Uganda is playing against Rwanda, you really expect something to come out from Uganda.
But of course, it's an advantage for them.
It is. But we still have Mali. And mind you, Kenya is always good at frustrating us. We needed just a single goal way back.
Refused. And
in 2011. Just a single goal to qualify for AFCON. We couldn't get that. And that was enough for Kenya to celebrate because they have denied their close rivals. So I still know that it's a work in progress. Mali is on 9 points.
Mali is 10 points.
It's 10 points, Uganda is on 9.
8 points.
It's on 8 points.
Yes.
And mind you, we are now going to Mali.
Yeah.
And as Mali played all the games against Rwanda?
Yep.
And what about they are going against Kenya? So we are yet waiting for this. So I'm just thinking aloud that we can try harder, but I think it's not yet time for us to celebrate. I'm happy for Fahad Bayo that he's trying his best. If he continues like that, he's going to make moves to other bigger clubs, knowing that he's really in one of the most professional leagues in Israel. To me, is one of the most important things for me. But again, coming to Uganda, I think I started thinking, was that a kind of a stand between Mitchell and Emmanuel Okwi that they go and camp in Rwanda, and then this guy gets a club in Rwanda?
Because he said it. When he was saying, he said they involved in Okwi. He involved him, he knew he was not going to be in his plan, but he involved him to get a club. And now he has got a club in Rwanda. That's one big thing for him.
And there he's going to be thinking of bringing Emmanuel Okwi back in the team. To me, that is one of... I think now, beyond this, we should now start looking beyond the Emma Okwis. These people are already too old.
And that's why it's been dropped.
They are too old. We now need to focus on the Fahad Bayos, maybe try to focus and get the best of the Muhammad Shabans. You should try to look at players with their talents and how much the country can benefit from them. Now start looking at the likes of the Cromwells. These are the generation of players you should look at. Look at the generation of players that were by then the Okwis were playing with. You look at the likes of the Eugene Sepuyas. They are no more in football. Look at the likes of the Sekajas.
The Ochans.
The Benjamin Ochans. They are no longer there. Look at the likes of Andrew Mwesi. They are no longer there. The Geoffrey Baba Kizitos, the Hassan was from Awandas. This one who was with the
one who was
Onuparaka,
yeah.
The former URA right back, the assistant to Baba Ziat Onuparaka.
Livingston.
The assistant.
The Masaba.
Sione Masabas, the Nestor Chizitos, the Dan Wagalukas, they are no longer there. Why are you still keeping Emma Okwi in the team? Focus on the likes of Abdul Malas. I was happy they brought him on board. The Elvis Mugabis, those are the players.
Are you also okay that Mia is not in the team?
Farouk Mia. But he's not performing. Mia will always like these players to be summoned on merit.
Oscar, your own thing. Now, let's look at these two things. Shot number 9 has been handed over to Fahad Bayo. Rate him with Patrick Kadu.
I mean, is there any comparison between Patrick Kadu and Fahad Bayo?
Why?
It's not. There's no comparison.
Patrick Kadu scored a goal and that made Uganda go.
Now, when they put you for a raw media team and you score a goal, does it make you a very good player?
But he got a chance to go out.
Does that make you a very good player?
Yeah, I'm a good player. But of course,
honestly speaking, in my opinion, tactically, Fahad Bayo is better. In fact, is 10 times better than Patrick Kadu. Patrick Kadu is in the leagues of those of Muhammad Shaban, the Ban Cromwells. You look at the Eunice
Sentama.
I mean, that is the caliber, and that's now where we should be looking at. I mean, Kadu, honestly, yes, Kadu played at Maroons, and again coming to KCCA. Just try to picture Fahad Bayo in that KCCA team when Mike Mutebe was still there. How many goals do you think he would have scored?
Now let's look at another striker by the names of Stephen Desom Kwala. He's one player who has also tried. He's still with the Uganda team. I saw him being substituted later on, but of course, he's one in the league. You saw how quick he was getting the goals and other things. Would you still say maybe because Fahad Bayo has been preferred ahead of him because of his qualities, but don't you think he's going to develop as a good player? I'm talking about Desom Kwala.
Well, Fahad Bayo is not the only player there. I agree. They need some 2, 3, or key 4 players where you have options. We're not going to be. We shouldn't be drawn into this kind of a trap where those days you only know is Emma Okwi going to lead them. By the way, at least we have had that syndrome. I was actually coming. We have had that syndrome. I was so tired of Geoffrey Massa.
Oh boy, those days.
I mean, Obua was in a class of his own. But Geoffrey Massa.
When he's not there,
now after Geoffrey Massa, these people are now coming us with Okwi. I mean, Okwi has played his part, I appreciate. His colleagues are now taking up coaching roles. Samson Sizo Okuti has accepted, he has taken his coaching role. When is he going to retire? Let him leave.
He's still looking for money.
Let him look for money in the clubs, not in the country. Listen, we have better players. We should start looking at better players. You can be good, but you'll never be good forever. That is what Uganda should actually look at. We should focus on. I mean, again, when Hassan was from Rwanda said he has resigned, I was like, am I surprised? Why should that even matter to me? He should have done that long time ago. Why were they even still summoning him? We have the likes of Timothy Awani. These are the players we should focus on now. We should not stop talking. Someone doesn't have a club, you want to bring him. Vipers will collect him, not even select him, will collect him, and they play 2-3 games, will be in the national team just for marketing purposes. I think enough of this. We should actually stop this. I am happy that the Fahad Bayos are coming up and should be a challenge to the Cromwells, to others who are in the league that fight hard and get that position.
And Anzi was in the team anyway. In there.
Is let them actually work harder and harder and harder. Don't only make the cut in the national team just to get that good money. I know the money is good, but also try to use it as a challenge so that you stay there.
Now, Uganda will be playing against Mali, against Kenya first on the 11th, of course, which is one of the big ones on November. Then, of course, they have Mali on the 14th of November. That's where we're going to be seeing whether Uganda gets it through to the World Cup. But now, when Uganda goes to the World Cup, you see them go even past the group stages, being maybe probably something with the first experience putting in there.
How do you go past when you're going to be putting Emmanuel and people like Okwi? How do you go past?
I told you that Okwi is going to be summoned back.
You wait and see. But honestly, I think if Uganda gets to the World Cup, it will be a plus. I'll be excited. Now, the other challenge for them would be is to control those type of thrashing that I don't want to see. 6, what I don't want to see. I think the last one I saw was when a country was beaten 7. I think it was Japan. Way back, I think in World Cup 2010 by when they beaten by Cote d'Ivoire, I think. There was that type of but still, I think it will be a plus. The issue is, can we get past Mali? That is the most underlying factor for me.
When Uganda gets past Kenya, it could be a plus. And then, of course, Mali is the last destination or definition for them to send them straight to the World Cup. And waiting to see how exactly that is it. The field was very big at Federation of Uganda Football Association offices. I was chatting with the PRO, of course, Ahmed Hussein, who was one of the big guys who always keeps engaging me in there. Of course, I was supposed to go and watch that game, but of course, I also had engagement. So it is one thing that has come in there. But of course, we are very glad that Uganda, you're doing good. We want to see the progress and see how the team is still going to be doing. I know this is one thing that will always give high, of course, anticipation, high motivation. But of course, one thing is, I think credit needs to be given to Mitchell, who is still trying to build up the team very much. He has tried his level best, and that is it. Someone asked me, did they pay all his arrears before he came back to Uganda?
Okay. That we may not discuss at length, but we know soon as Mitchell will get another deal somewhere, those things will come up. Hey, they had not paid me. It also happened to Laszlo Saba. At one point, went to the press that I even slept hungry, who had not paid me. Anyway, Uganda has come a long way. But looking at this, to me, the underlying factor for me is that even if we don't qualify, we should come back and don't ignore the basics. Let's start investing in the youthful team so that we can have a transition. That these ones are going out the quiz, we have the bios coming, we have a complete team that can even, we can start by winning Sekafa, go to even winning this AFCON that is held for only locally based players. We can start that building process, and that will give us a lot of options. Before looking at outside, we can actually also start thinking of players that we can develop here, and once they go out, they don't struggle. They can go to North Africa, succeed, and go to Europe. They can go to Portugal, they can go to all other big leagues in Europe, just like the way the Black Stars of Ghana did. From the youthful setup, these guys dominated Europe. They were the team that were the players that were being bought in most top clubs. You saw Senegal with their World Cup triumph in 2002. After that, most of the players went to Europe. So it's a #1 marketing strategy for us. And once we have 2-3 people coming in from your village, that's a very good economic development. They're going to invest. But I know they might even buy the small plot of land you have, but still it's okay.
But it's fine.
They can develop it.
Now we're going to take a break as shortly right here. But of course, I want to say yesterday, the Arua City Boxing Club Federation also had a very big exhibition at one of the places here, where you did see, of course, them have a fight. But of course, the fight went into the favors of Arua City Boxing Club, where, of course, Jamal fought against the Cobra, of course, of Yumbe, and they won the game. But of course, it was a very nice one. I want to let's take a break. We'll be right back.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back from that break. But of course, Mercedes-Benz, of course, Bottas had a very good game yesterday. In that is the, of course, the Formula One, and he won that very big moment of that is the Russian Prix. Now, of course, you look at what exactly happened in that game. He was the main leader, and of course he has been trying this all the time. You've seen him beat, of course, the man by the name of Lewis Hamilton in trials and other things. Of course, Hamilton has always kept taking on in the finals in there, but this time around he showed them a touch and drove. He was at number 1 and won that Russian Grand Prix. Now, of course, second came the man by the name of Verstappen, who of course came into the team, and the known famous, I'm talking about Lewis, was at position 5 in this. Just like you said some time back, this could be one of the biggest season for Lewis Hamilton, and this time around, on points, the man by the names of Verstappen goes ahead of him. What next for him?
Well, I think what next will be, how can he pick up himself, especially from they will be in the USA Grand Prix.
In fact, yesterday was the Turkish Grand Prix. Yeah,
the Turkish Grand Prix. Then how will he pick up himself from there? I think, just like I said, it will be one of his most challenging seasons. The last one came when he was beaten by his teammate Nico Rosberg. Actually won the Formula 1, and for him, he went smart. After winning, he immediately retired. He wanted to live as a hero. The same thing that happened to the father of Kasper Schmeichel at Manchester United. When they won the treble, immediately left United, went to Manchester City. This won this thing of
you come and suffer again, and then you reputation. Like how Zidane retired at first at Real Madrid after winning Champions League.
So it's going to be one of the most challenging. But again, it's eye-catching to see that a person who who recently won in I think he won in the Belgian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Now, again, you're coming to lose in this one. I think it was one of the most challenging for me, and especially that position. I expect him to be at least at number 3, but still at number 5. That means there's something. I think maybe that's where Mercedes maybe have a plan. They know that this guy cannot be the best forever. They have George Russell, the champion in Formula 2. Who was actually brought in. I think come next season is going to be they're looking at that transition. How can that transition be like? And you have a lot of exciting talents that you have in Formula 1. The likes of Lando Norris are still in this, but I expected him to have actually done better. So the most important thing we're seeing, could this be a season for Max Verstappen? That's what we're seeing.
One thing somebody will be asking whether this is the season is yet on top with a few point gap difference right there. And of course, we're seeing how exactly we'll be doing that. But of course, still a lot is left. We just did tell you games are yet coming with a different. The United States is still coming, and we are going to be seeing whether exactly he can do this and push it further, or whether he will still be in the race to see that he wins this. Remember, he had a penalty in the Belgian Grand Prix, where of course he had challenges. Yeah, he did not finish the best, and of course Lewis won that for himself. Now this time around, the question will come to this current one. What exactly do you think will he go through, or will he not? That's one big thing. Now in the weekend, you did see, of course, the team of Newcastle being taken over by, that is the Arab consultant. Of course, looking at his net is around 320 billion, according to reports that are coming in there now.
10 times richer than Roman Abramovich.
Exactly, and of course the owner of also the Arab, the Mansour of Man City. Yeah. He also has a very big one. Is 20 billion, but this guy is in 320. So very big. Newcastle United. How would you look at Newcastle United under new management?
I wish these guys took over Arsenal. I'm just sick of seeing Arsenal just behaving there. I wish they took over Arsenal. Anyway, that was just a joke. Now to Newcastle United.
In the next 5 seasons.
The next 5 seasons. We have seen big investors come to clubs and these clubs fail.
Yeah.
Let's start off with the Angie Mashkakala in Russia. When they were taken over, the type of signings they were making, the Samuel Eto'os, the Roberto Carlos, you would expect that Angie Mascacalo should have been far by now. And I think it also comes to the sportsmanship. Why are you buying this club? Do you have sports at heart? Do you have that football at heart? Or you're only just looking at the business aspect? That's one key thing that's I'm going to see for me, that where is this going to take Newcastle? I expected Angie Mascacalo to have gone very far, because they were paying crazy money. The Samuel Eto'os were signed, they were paid £600,000 a week. I mean, and big monies for players, but they didn't live to the expectations.
Yeah.
Let's leave that aside. Let's come to Queen's Park Rangers. There was a lot of money invested in Queen's Park Rangers. Where is Queen's Park Rangers? I mean, they started buying the likes of Christopher Samba, Jibril Cisse is coming on board. At one point, they also had Sean Wright Phillips, some Dedo Monuha that they brought from Manchester City. They had Steve Bruce they brought on. I mean, there was that hype, but I didn't see that translating into, in the longer term, how the team by now we shouldn't be seeing QPR down where they are. They should be seeing them up. Let's leave Queen's Park Rangers and come to the recent. Thaksin Shinawatra at Manchester City, before the Arabs took over. He had the money. When we saw the likes of the emergence of the likes of Joe Hart into the team, they came and raided Arsenal. They took the likes of Gael Clichy. They took the likes of Bakary Sagna. They took the likes of Emma Adebayo. They took the likes of Samir Nasiri from Arsenal. Then bought in a couple of other players. But of course, there was the likes of Elano, there was the likes of Joe, those type of players that actually made the cut. But still, under Thaksin Shinawatra, I didn't see the best of Manchester City. The coach was Sven-Göran Eriksson, was not the best, not until he had to sell it to the Arabs. The Arabs had the football at heart. They loved Manchester City. They invested and they wanted to see Manchester City somewhere. And that's where their investment, they have not been thinking about what is coming in. They're thinking about how they can build this team to become a winning team. Now we are seeing Manchester City in the finals of UEFA Champions League. We're seeing
they are consistent in the UEFA Champions League.
Pep Guardiola coming in. We're seeing the likes of coaches. Coaches actually came in. We saw Roberto Mancini. After Mancini, we saw the Uruguayan, the one who was recently sacked at West Ham before Moyes came in. He was, I'm forgetting his name. There was a coach in between. After Roberto Mancini, he came in. And then from there, and then we saw Pep Guardiola coming in. And you always see quality. And all these coaches who have been coming, at least they win. You saw the coming in of the Balotellis, the coming in of the Edin Dzekos. So they always bring something in the team for me. Which other team was taken over and has not lived to the billing? I think these are the closest examples we could actually give. Now to Newcastle United. This should have actually happened some time back, but we're not seeing. But again, now, what does it mean for the likes of, for the coaches who are there, the Steve Bruces who are there?
Of course, reports already has it that he will be sacked very soon this week.
Maybe he will leave on mutual consent. But still, it's going to bring a lot of expectation. Paper talks already suggesting the likes of Steven Gerrard. I will not honestly trust such big monies to young coaches like Steven Gerrard. No. Now, when you have such a huge investment, you need a coach who has been it. Tempt Pep Guardiola, tempt Jose Mourinho, tempt the likes of Jurgen Klopp. Those tempt the likes of Arsene Wenger. Coaches you can tempt to come in. But if you're going to entrust such a huge investment, just like the likes of Thaksin Shinawatra did with Sven-Göran Eriksson, I think it was a complete gamble for me. So to me, I feel who is going to come in should be which coach is going to come in, and they should be given a time frame, maybe within a period of.
And Nuno is not to the expectation. Are we seeing how
when the line with formations because he to play
minute and
if not for Lacazette for Aubameyang. The French team is still a complete. I think going into the next World Cup, they're still a team to beat. They're a team.